At a press briefing on Thursday, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot excoriated Texas Governor Greg Abbott after he sent migrants to her city by bus. Lightfoot claimed that the Texas Republican had no humanity in his dealings with the illegal border crossers and pledged to give them aid in the form of health care, shelter, food, and education for children. Abbott has earned Democratic ire in the last few weeks as he has bused illegal border crossers into blue cities like Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. Democrats have accused Abbott of using migrants as human pawns and refusing to help. Abbott and his Republican allies have countered that Texas should not be forced to shoulder the burden of a border crisis that has seen over 3 million people enter the country illegally since President Biden took office.
All right, JC, NBC.
Thank you, Mayor. What type of collaboration or communication at all has there been between governments, between yourself and the Abbott administration to coordinate this?
Well, let's be clear. The Abbott administration has not collaborated with anybody. They put people on a truck, on a bus, without any regard for their safety, and then dropped them off here. It would be nice if they had collaborated with us. It would be nice if they had communicated who they were sending, what numbers, what their circumstances are, whether or not they needed any kind of medical assistance, whether they were going to be here in Chicago or going elsewhere. That's what a leader would do. That is not who Governor Abbott is. That's not what he's done. What you have seen instead is what we do in Chicago and Illinois. We all collaborate. We've been talking for quite some time back and forth about the possibility when we saw the threat and then the first folks being gone, shipped to New York City and to Washington, D.C. We are showing leadership. He is not.
Seeing firsthand reporting on the border, I've unfortunately seen the separated families that were reported on years ago. What steps are in place in case the governor decides to continue to send busloads, including children that may be unaccompanied? What type of plans are there in place to make sure that families can stay together and these migrants can stay safe?
Well, look, I will tell you, it is my prayer, literally, that this man finds some humanity and doesn't do that. But should he continue to do what he seems determined to do, we're ready. We are the village, and we are going to make sure that whoever comes to Chicago, that we're going to take care of them, that they are going to find shelter here, and that they are going to be welcome. And we will do whatever it takes to make sure that their rights are respected. So we're ready, we're prepared, and as I said, this is not the way to do it. He is manufacturing a crisis. It's totally unnecessary.
Jose, I'm sorry.
If it continues, we'll be ready. Yes, sir.
Jose
Mayor,
Telemundo.
you said that you saw them yesterday. Any special thing that you remember for them? What something special that you would like to share to us?
Well, I got to spend a little bit of time with some of the children and the families, and through an interpreter, just told them that we would be here for them. And I think they were all very, very grateful after the journeys that they've been on, traveling from their home countries, being treated as coarsely as they were by the governor of Texas, coming here and finding a completely different experience. I think some of them were a little bit surprised, but I think as the reality that we are going to treat them with dignity and respect really sinks in, I'm confident that the burdens that they've been carrying are going to be a little bit lighter. I mean, they've got a long journey to go. There's no question. But as I said, I was really heartened by their resiliency, and they seemed like they were in a pretty good place under the circumstances.
Esther, WBZ.
Have you been in touch with officials in New York and D.C., and what are some lessons that they learned that you are implementing here?
Yeah, I've reached out to my fellow mayors, but also, frankly, mayors in Texas as well. We're talking. I haven't been able to get in contact with all of them, but I'm always interested in learning from my fellow mayors about what their experiences are and what we can do to implement the things that work, but also be on the lookout for challenges that they've experienced. So, and I know that many of the people here in the organizations that they represent have been reaching out to their counterparts. I don't know if anybody wants to step up and share some best practices or things that you've learned. I'm not seeing any takers.
Same thing we're doing here, Mayor.
Yeah. So Look, this is not the first time that we have had to step up in this moment. A little bit different circumstances than, for example, with the Afghanis or with the Ukrainians, but that muscle memory really has been built, and importantly, the infrastructure of support, that continuum of care, if I may, is here in our city. And we're really, really fortunate for such tremendous partners who come from all different kinds of backgrounds, but the common thread is we're here to serve.
Craig, ABC.
Mayor, you kind of alluded to it that you've been preparing for some time. We understand the North Park facility's been being built up for at least a week. How long ago did you start preparing for this, and did you get any direct information that there were going to be buses coming here?
Well, you know that this has been happening for some time now. I think at least a month, if not a little bit longer. And we saw what was happening in New York and in Washington, D.C., and we immediately knew if the pendulum swings in our direction, we need to be prepared. So conversation started several weeks back, and as the reality of this possibility seemed closer and closer, then we really kind of sprung into action. So it's been a conversation for some time, watching what was happening and thinking, again, what is he doing? He is trying to create crises in Democratic-led cities to demonstrate his toughness, right? But also, frankly, to try to embarrass us by not being ready or prepared. Well, that's never going to happen in Chicago.